Russia surrounds from 3 directions, hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers trapped in Donetsk fortress. Russia is intensifying its attacks on Volodar, closing the pincers and trapping hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers inside the strategic fortress. According to the Telegraph, hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers may be trapped inside Volodar as Russian forces complete the encirclement and advance rapidly towards this strategic area. From the battlefield, a Ukrainian soldier reported that evacuation routes out of Volodar have been cut off, while food, ammunition, and fuel are running out. The situation in Volodar is very difficult. Russian attacks are coming from 3 directions, the unnamed Ukrainian soldier told Stanislav Bunyatov, a Ukrainian soldier and blogger. The soldier added that it has now become too dangerous for Ukraine to send armored personnel carriers to the area under Kiev's control, as Russian artillery and drones are intensifying attacks from various directions. As a result, individual Ukrainian units are attempting to quietly retreat from the front lines at night, although there are still significant risks. On average, if 10 people leave this area in a group, 4 to 6 survive, he said. This information emerged just a day after senior Ukrainian commanders replaced the commander of the 72nd Brigade, Ivan Vinnik, who has been defending Volodar for over 30 months. The replacement of the commander amid the critical situation in Volodar has sparked speculation about the fate of the area. Volodar has been described as a fortress of Ukraine because it has never been captured by Russia, despite numerous assaults over the years. However, currently, Russian military bloggers report that Moscow's forces have almost surrounded it, and the fall of Volodar may occur in the near future. Even neutral sources and those from the Ukrainian side acknowledge that Volodar, located on high ground near a crucial supply route, is likely to soon fall into Russian hands. Deep State, a pro-Ukraine media channel, confirmed that Russia has deployed regular forces and special forces to reinforce the area. Moscow has already captured the nearby villages of Prechestivka and Badiane, located on the western and eastern flanks of Volodar, respectively. According to experts, Volodar plays a key role in Ukraine's eastern defense operations. By holding this area for over 2 years, Ukrainian units have been able to contain a large Russian force and inflict significant losses. This has allowed Ukraine to bolster defenses in the Pokrovsk area and prevent direct Russian attacks near Novorodivka. If Volodar falls, it will be one of Russia's most significant achievements on the battlefield since Moscow captured Avdiivka in February. From Volodar, Russia could easily advance towards Pokrovsk and Kiriakovskoye, creating a pincer around Ukraine's logistical supply lines in Donbass. Ukraine acknowledges that the frontline situation is very difficult. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has admitted that the situation on the front lines of the conflict with Russia is very, very difficult, and Ukrainian forces must do everything they can during the fall. Reports from each frontline area, current and future capabilities, and specific tasks show that the situation is very, very difficult, President Zelensky said in his nightly address on September 30th. He emphasized, everything that can be achieved this fall, we must achieve. The assessment came after a more than 2-hour meeting with Ukrainian military generals. This was the second time in less than a week that Zelensky stressed the need for Ukraine to take swift military action in the coming months. He made similar remarks after meeting with U.S. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump in New York last weekend. Trump has repeatedly criticized the U.S. for pouring billions of dollars in military aid into Ukraine. During last week's meeting with Zelensky, he reiterated his claim that he would quickly find a solution to the conflict in Ukraine if re-elected but did not provide details. Ukraine is reportedly seeking to accelerate military operations ahead of the U.S. presidential election next month. However, Kiev's plans face challenges as the West remains hesitant about providing long-range weapons and allowing Ukraine to strike deep into Russian territory. Ukraine's defenses are currently stretched as they have had to transfer forces from the Eastern Front for an offensive operation to control territories in Russia's border province of Kursk. Kiev launched raids into Kursk in early August despite limited resources. This is part of Ukraine's strategy to divert attention, forcing Russia to shift resources from the Eastern Front. However, Moscow continues to make advances in Donetsk while gradually pushing back and inflicting losses on Ukrainian forces in Kursk. Russia's Ministry of Defense stated yesterday that Ukraine has lost nearly 19,000 troops after nearly 2 months of attacks on Kursk. In total, in the fighting in the Kursk area, the enemy has lost over 18,900 personnel, 133 tanks, 65 infantry fighting vehicles, 98 armored personnel carriers, 856 armored combat vehicles, and 562 other military vehicles, the statement said. In eastern Ukraine, military bloggers in recent days have reported that Russian forces have entered the town of Volodar, which Ukrainian troops have defended throughout the Donetsk conflict. The Deep State blog quoted Russian reports indicating that their forces are shelling the town and that infantry is moving within the town and between high-rise buildings. Russia's Ministry of Defense yesterday announced that Moscow had taken control of the village of Nelipivka, south of Donetsk city in Donetsk province, one of Russia's targets in the area. Russia expresses openness to negotiate withdrawal from two Georgian separatist regions. Russia has declared its openness to negotiations regarding the possibility of withdrawing troops from Abkhazia and South Ossetia, two separatist regions of Georgia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov hinted that the country might negotiate to withdraw its troops from Abkhazia and South Ossetia, separatist regions of Georgia with a strong Russian military presence since 2008. Lavrov also confirmed that Russia is willing to assist Georgia in reconciling with Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Georgia's current leadership is simply taking an honest assessment of the past. They say they want to reconcile what happened in the past. And how this reconciliation could take place is up to Abkhazia and South Ossetia to decide, he said. If all parties are interested in normalizing these relations and ensuring agreements not to attack one another, we will be ready to help if the parties are interested, the Russian diplomat emphasized. The Georgian government considers Abkhazia and South Ossetia part of its territory. Most Western governments, including the US, also view these areas as part of Georgia. Meanwhile, Russia, along with a few countries such as Venezuela and Syria, has recognized the independence of these two regions. Georgia is a neighbor of Russia to the southwest. South Ossetia and Abkhazia sought to break away from Georgia and establish self-declared republics after the collapse of the Soviet Union. In 1994, the parties signed a ceasefire agreement, but tensions continued to simmer. By 2004, when Mikhail Saakashvili, a pro-Western politician, was elected president of Georgia, the conflict intensified as he sought to suppress the separatist movements in the country. In 2008, Georgia sent troops into South Ossetia, breaking the previous ceasefire, and Saakashvili vowed to restore control over the two Russian-backed separatist regions. Russia launched a military intervention in Georgia on August 8, 2008, ending after 5 days of fighting, which inflicted heavy losses on Georgia's forces and defense infrastructure. In 2008, Russia recognized the independence of Abkhazia and South Ossetia and has since maintained a military presence in the two separatist regions, asserting that this action was in line with the local people's aspirations. Kaka Kaladze, Secretary-General of Georgia's ruling Georgian Dream Party and mayor of the Georgian capital Tbilisi, said Lavrov's remarks were well received. He added, Russia's willingness to support reconciliation and facilitate this reconciliation is certainly a positive thing. However, I believe it would be better to take effective steps after these statements. Kaladze further noted that Russia could develop an action plan to withdraw troops from the two separatist regions. In recent years, Georgia's government has made efforts to ease tensions with its neighbor Russia. Bidzina Ivanishvili, founder of the Georgian Dream Party, said in September that the former Soviet country's government might find the strength to apologize for the 2008 war with South Ossetia. According to Newsweek, the withdrawal of Russian troops from Georgia could free up resources for the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. However, this is seen as a potentially lengthy process, as negotiations between Georgia and the two separatist regions have yet to begin.